The Roth IRA is the best investment account out there. Or is it? With a Roth, I get to invest my money, let it compound and grow over the course of my entire career, and then spend it for the rest of my life without ever having to pay another cent of tax on it. What could be better than that? Well, in this video, I'm going to try to convince you that a Roth and a big pile of tax-free money might not be your best investing option, with some math to back it up. You see, in a recent video, I talked about the optimal order for your money, how you should prioritize putting money into your different investment accounts. And I stated that most people should prioritize their pre-tax 401k over a Roth IRA, or Roth 401k for that matter. I knew that was an against the grain opinion that would ruffle some feathers. And based on some of the feedback I received, I was right. The argument for the Roth is that you don't have to pay any taxes on any of your investment growth for the rest of your life. And the money you're putting in your 401k pre-tax today, well, when you go to withdraw that in retirement, all of that money is taxed as ordinary income. And I might have way more money in retirement than I do now, and taxes might be a lot higher too. So the Roth is obviously the better option. And that's where I think the conventional wisdom regarding Roths that you hear from so many people misses a big point. See, the money that you put into your 401k or other pre-tax retirement account today lowers the amount of income that you have to pay taxes on this year. So if we look at that another way, that means every dollar you're putting into your 401k would be taxed at the rate of your top tax bracket if it wasn't being contributed into that account. And that means the reverse is also true. You do pay your highest tax rate on every dollar that you contribute into your Roth accounts. So just look at this chart here, find out which tax bracket your income falls into, and that's how much tax you're going to be paying on every single dollar you contribute to a Roth account. But what happens later on when you take the money out? With your Roth, nothing. You just withdraw the money, spend it as you please without ever having to pay any more tax on it. But with a traditional account, you do have to pay taxes on that money you withdraw. After all, that's why it's called a tax-deferred account. You pay no taxes today, you defer them till later on down the road. But while all the money we contributed into our pre-tax account, our 401k, all of that money would have been taxed at our highest tax bracket in our working years. When we withdraw it in retirement, that's not the case. Remember, our tax system is progressive, so you have to fill up every lower tax bracket with income before moving on to a higher one. That means every dollar coming out of your 401k in retirement is taxed more efficiently. And you also have things like the standard deduction you can claim and no FICA taxes on the money you're withdrawing from your 401k, both of which will go to lessen the tax burden you feel in retirement as well. And proponents of prioritizing the Roth approach first also forget another important point. The taxes that you're saving by contributing to the pre-tax 401k today, that tax savings can also be invested, even into a Roth IRA. But now, instead of just taking my word for it, let's run some numbers and see how it actually plays out. I created this spreadsheet to model it out for us, and here are the assumptions I ran with. We contribute the max amount to our 401k every year for a 25-year period, with the contribution limit on our 401k increasing 10% every 5 years. We achieve roughly the market average of a 7% return on our money each year, and after 25 years, we retire and begin withdrawing our money to live off of. We robotically follow the 4% rule, which we already learned was a bit suboptimal in this video, but for the ease of this calculation, we're withdrawing 4% of our portfolio each year, increasing with inflation, which for purposes of this test, I set at 3.5% per year. And also, for simplicity, the tax brackets I use in our retirement years are today's tax brackets. I'm working under the assumption that the income needed to fill out each tax bracket will increase along with inflation, just like our income in this scenario does. So if today we're in the 24% tax bracket, we max out our pre-tax 401k every year for a 25-year career, we'll have $1.6 million in our pre-tax retirement account and almost an extra $400,000 in our account where we invested our yearly tax savings, which again could be a Roth. But for this experiment, we're going to assume that money gets taxed on the way out too. So we have just over $2 million combined as we head into retirement. Not bad, huh? Then, in retirement, we blindly follow the 4% rule. So in year one, we'll be withdrawing roughly $80,000. I ran that through a tax calculator to figure out what our effective tax rate in retirement will be on that amount. And for a single person, that works out to be an effective tax rate of 13.07%. For someone married filing jointly, it'll only be a 7.65% effective tax rate. So, in our first year of retirement, a person who spent their career prioritizing the pre-tax savings would have just over $70,000 to live off if they were single, and nearly $75,000 to live off after tax if they were married and filing jointly. Now let's see how that compares to our Roth. Just so we have a total apples to apples comparison here, let's assume a Roth 401k. That way I can use the same contribution amounts for our career. So now when we're investing in the Roth, we're paying tax all along the way in our working years. That means we don't have that tax savings that we can invest alongside our main account. So at the end of our 25-year career, we'd end up with over $1.6 million in our Roth. But we'll never have to pay taxes on that money ever again. And using the 4% rule the same way we did in the pre-tax scenario, we'll have a touch over $65,000 worth of income in year number 1 of retirement. So there you go. For people in the 24% tax bracket, the pre-tax investment strategy comes out ahead of the Roth by nearly $5,000 in after-tax income for the single person and $10,000 for a married couple. And that's because A, we can invest the money we're saving from tax in our working years right alongside our main account for our whole careers. And B, our withdrawals are taxed more favorably than our contributions would have been because of our progressive tax system and how your effective tax rate on that income will be lower. And if you're wondering how this plays out in different scenarios and different tax brackets, prioritizing the pre-tax accounts while investing the extra tax savings along the side comes out ahead for everyone above the 12% tax bracket. So I'd wager a guess that that's most of you watching this video right now. And obviously the higher the tax bracket you're currently in, the further out ahead you're going to come by implementing the pre-tax prioritization over the Roth. And it also works out to your benefit even if you're not maxing out your 401k. Running a scenario where we contribute $10,000 per year to our 401k or our Roth, still increasing 10% every 5 years, the pre-tax method will still come out ahead of the Roth by about $2,000 per year in annual spending income. The real key to all this is to make sure you're investing that extra money you're saving from your pre-tax contributions though. If you don't do that, this whole thing falls apart and the Roth is the better option. But ideally, you'll take those tax savings and invest them into a Roth IRA. That way, you get the best of both worlds. And what if tax rates are significantly higher when you're in retirement than they are today? How does it work then? And prioritizing the pre-tax strategy is still going to work out in your favor, even if tax rates go up significantly, so long as your effective tax rate in retirement is less than your top tax rate while working. Because remember, every dollar you're putting into your Roth is getting taxed at the top tax rate you're paying today. While even if tax rates go up significantly in the future, you still have to fill up all those lower buckets of income before you reach whatever your new top tax rate is. So I have no doubts that regardless of what other scenario you throw at it, the pre-tax strategy will come out ahead unless tax rates go way up and they do away with the progressive tax system. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Thanks for watching this video. Check this one out next if you're not sick of me, and I'll see you next time.